Hello, friends, and welcome to Dream University platform. Today we are going to discuss some important facts which are important for the MCQs that are going to come in the exam. So, we are going to look here at the world geography, then talk about the universe, then about the earth facts and figures, then about the different satellites of the earth, latitudes, longitudes, then different physical features on the earth's surface, then earthquakes, then various landforms, then plateaus, oceans, and many other things. So let us just have a look at all the important points that are going to come for the exam. So, talking about the universe, it is nothing but existing matter and energy. They together constitute the universe. So, the matter and energy that is present together, they are constituting the universe. Galaxy, a galaxy is a huge system of billions of stars and clouds of dust and gases. So, you might be given options and you might be asked to define what is a galaxy. So, a galaxy is a huge system of billions of stars and clouds of dust and gases. And you know that the universe has a lot of galaxies in it. The only one which is familiar to us currently is the Milky Way galaxy. And as we all know, that our solar system is a part of the Milky Way galaxy. There are millions of galaxies that make the universe. So, stars. We have all studied what are stars in our junior classes. So, stars are balls of gases. Stars account for about 98% of the matter in a galaxy, and the stars nearest to the Earth are Proxima Centauri. This is very important. Then Alpha Centauri, Barnard Star, Sirius, and so on. Of these, Sirius is the brightest. So you can see that these are the stars which are closest to the Earth, and out of all these, Sirius is the brightest of all. Then light year. Light year is the distance traveled by light in 1 year at a speed of 2,99,792.5 kilometers per second. So light year is nothing but the distance traveled by light in 1 year. So the speed is estimated to be at 2,99,792.5 kilometers per second. This figure is important. Then next we have the solar system. The sun, eight planets, satellites, and some other celestial bodies known as asteroids and meteoroids form the solar system. So the solar system just does not comprise just of the sun and the planets, but it also comprises of the various satellites, then the other celestial bodies that exist in the system like asteroids and meteoroids, and together they form the solar system. So in this diagram, you can see that we have the sun followed by the planets according to their distance, that is Mercury, then Venus, Earth, Mars, and so on. And here you can see in between we have asteroids, then the moon is there, satellites orbiting the sun, right? Orbiting the planet, sorry. Then we have the sun. The sun is the center of the solar system. We know that all the planets are revolving around the sun. So the sun is a mixture of gases, and it is consisting of 92% hydrogen, 7.8% helium, and 0.2% other gases. So you can see that it is mostly majority of the sun is made up of hydrogen, followed by helium, and the rest 0.2% comprises of other gases. Then the sun is about 150 million kilometers away from the earth, and the sun is the ultimate source of energy for life on earth. We know that the earth gets its energy in the form of heat and light only from the sun. So the sun is the only source of energy for the earth. Sunlight takes about 8 minutes 16.6 seconds to reach the earth. So these figures are important. Then let us talk about some facts related to the sun. Diameter is estimated to be at 1.392 into 10 to the power 6 kilometers. Then volume you can see. Then temperature is 6,000 degrees Celsius at surface and 15 million degrees Celsius at the center. This figure is important, 6,000 degrees Celsius at the surface relative density is 1.4, and gravitational pull is 28 times the gravitational pull of the earth. So you can see that how powerful is the gravitational pull of the sun in comparison to that of the earth. It is 28 times more stronger than the gravitational pull of the earth. Then facts about planets. Closest to the sun, as we all know, is Mercury, and farthest from the sun is Neptune. Heaviest is Jupiter. It's obvious because it is the largest planet in the solar system. Then hottest is Venus. Inner Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are known as inner planets because they are located closer to the sun. Whereas largest is Jupiter, smallest is Mercury. Moons, none, Mercury, Venus. Then moon largest, Ganymede. Jupiter has the largest moon, and it is larger in size than Mercury and Venus. Nearest to Earth is Venus. Then orbits according to the order: Mercury closest to Sun, then Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Then rings: Saturn has rings. Then spin backwards, that is, all the planets rotate from west to east, but Venus rotates from east to west. So comets, it has a head and a tail. Its tails originate only near when it gets closer to the sun. The tail can be 20 to 30 million kilometer long. It always points away from the sun because of the force exerted by the solar winds and radiation on the cometary material. Then the Earth, as we know that the Earth is the third nearest planet to the Sun. From the outer space, the Earth appears blue because two-thirds of the surface is covered by water. Therefore, the Earth is also known as the blue planet. Then it is the densest of all the planets. Rotation is the movement of the Earth on its axis, as we all know. And due to this, we have the phenomena of day and night. Then the Earth takes a total of 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds, which by rounding off, we make it to 24 hours. And it takes 24 hours to complete one rotation around its axis. And the Earth takes 365 one-fourth days, that is 1 year, to revolve around the Sun. Then we have some facts and figures related to the Earth. So just go through them once, like the mass of the Earth, density of Earth, volume of the Earth, then polar diameter, equatorial diameter. Out of this, like the volume is important, then density, mass is important, and then highest point on the Earth's surface, this is important. Then lowest point on the Earth's surface, this is also important, and the greatest ocean depth, that is Mariana Trench, and which is located at the east of Philippines. Now, the moon. The Earth has only one satellite, and that is the moon. And now, its diameter is only one quarter that of the Earth, and it is about 384,400 kilometers away from us. So, the moon moves around the Earth in about 27 days. It takes exactly the same time to complete one spin. So, you can say that, you know, the same rotation and revolution take around the same amount of time. So as a result, only one side of the moon, 59% of its surface, is visible to us, that is the Earth, and the moonlight takes around 1.3 seconds to reach Earth. So how you can see how fast it is. Then latitude: imaginary lines which are drawn parallel to the equator, measured as an angle whose apex is at the center of the earth. Now, these are known as latitudes, and these are imaginary lines. Now, the equator represents 0 degree latitude, while the North Pole is 90-degree north and the South Pole is 90 degrees south. 23.5 degree north represents the Tropic of Cancer, whereas 23.5 degrees south represents the Tropic of Cancer. These are very important. Then, besides the latitude, we also have another set of imaginary lines which are known as longitudes. Now, it is the angular distance measured from the center of the earth. On the globe, the lines of longitude are drawn as a series of semicircles that extend from the North Pole to the South Pole through the equator. They are also known as meridians. So, the distance between any two meridians, it is not equal. At the equator, 1 degree, that is around 111 kilometers. Then at 30-degree north and south, it is 96.5 kilometer. So it goes on decreasing this way until it is zero at the poles. Then we have the international dateline. So it is the 180-degree meridian running over the Pacific Ocean, deviating at Aleutian Islands Fiji, Samoa, and Gilbert Islands. Then travelers crossing the date line from west to east repeat a day, and travelers crossing it from west to east to west lose a day. This is very important. Then next we have about the Indian Standard Time, that is IST. So the Indian Standard Time is calculated on the basis of 82.5 degree east longitude, which passes through Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Chhattisgarh, and Andhra Pradesh. Now it is important that we have a standard time so that all the country follows one uniform time measurement. Otherwise, what would have happened if we would not have had a standard time measurement? All the places would have had different time zones, and it would indeed have created a lot of confusion. So eclipses. Sun is the only source of light for both the earth and the moon. Eclipses occur when the light thus received is either blocked by the earth or by the moon. So we all know that we have solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. So eclipses occur when either the earth moves behind the moon's shadow or the moon moves behind the earth's shadow. Now, as I told you, we have two types of eclipses, that is lunar eclipse and solar eclipse. So, what is lunar eclipse? Lunar eclipse occurs only when the following conditions are met. So, the first is the sun, the earth, and moon must be aligned in a straight line. So, all these three, that is the sun, earth, and moon, they are coming in a straight line. Then the earth's position should be between the sun and the moon, and the moon must be in a full phase moon. Then for solar eclipses occur only when the following conditions are met. That is, when you have the sun, earth, and moon aligned in a straight line, then the moon must be positioned between the sun and the earth. So you can say that there are differences in the position of the position of all these three. So in terms of lunar eclipse, you can see that the earth is positioned between the sun and the moon, whereas in solar eclipse the moon is positioned between the sun and the earth. So, and also must be a new moon day, that is it is in contrast in comparison to lunar eclipse. Then we have rocks. Rocks are composed of many minerals such as silica, aluminum, iron, and magnesium. You know that we are obtaining minerals from the rocks that are available on the surface of the earth. So the nature of the rock, it is determined by the presence of minerals in it. We have all studied this before, that rocks can be classified into three main types, that is igneous rocks, which are formed by magma that reaches the earth's surface along the cracks and crevices at volcanic vents, for example mica, granite, etc. Then we have the sedimentary rocks, which are formed due to the accumulation and cementation of mud, silt, or the sand, which is derived from weathered igneous rock fragments like gravel, peat, gypsum, etc. And then we have finally the metamorphic rock. They are igneous or sedimentary rocks which have been altered due to the heat and pressure. So either because they have been buried and folded deep in the crust, or because they have come into contact with molten igneous rock. So what happened over a period of time, the rocks keep building up in layers and layers. So as a result, a heat energy is produced and there's tremendous pressure being created. So in turn, they are being converted into metamorphic rocks. So examples like gneiss, marble, quartzite, etc. Then volcanoes. Sudden eruption of hot magma, molten rock, gases, ash, and other materials from inside the earth to its surface. Then we have different types of volcanoes as well. Active ones which erupt frequently, like the Mauna Loa in Hawaii, Etna, Vesuvius, Stromboli. The names are important. So you have to remember the names of the active volcanoes. Then the dormant volcanoes, that is the one which have not erupted for quite some time but have the possibility of erupting in the future, like the Fujiyama, which is located in Japan, then Krakatoa in Indonesia, and the Barren Island in Andamans. Then extinct means there's no probability that they are going to erupt in the future. So, like Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh, Scotland. The names of all these volcanoes, different types of volcanoes, are very much important. Then, what are earthquakes? Earthquakes are a form of wave energy that is transferred through bedrock. So, it is transmitted from the point of the earthquake focus as spherical seismic waves. They travel in all directions outward. So, earthquakes are caused due to the seismic waves that are generated from inside the earth. So they travel in all directions outward. And how are we measuring the intensity of earthquakes? The intensity of earthquake waves, it is recorded by a seismograph, and we are measuring the scale with the help of a scale which is known as Richter scale. Then what are the different types of landforms that are found on the surface of the earth? Landforms, three major landforms that can be found, that is mountains, plateaus and plains. Mountains, it can be defined as an area of land that rises abruptly from the surrounding region. So, in comparison to the surrounding region, the mountain area would definitely be an area that is elevated, and that is, in a higher elevation in comparison from the surrounding area. We have three types of mountains, that is fold mountains, block mountains and volcanic mountains. So the Himalayas, Alps, Andes, they are known as fold mountains because they have been formed as a result of folding of the earth's crust due to the various tectonic forces that have been acting on the earth, and these are very recently formed. That is why they are like the Himalayas, they are also known as young fold mountains. Then the Aravalli Range in India is one of the oldest fold mountain systems in the world. Then the Rhine Valley and the Vosges Mountain in Europe are examples of such mountain systems. Then volcanic mountains are formed, as the name suggests, due to volcanic activity. And then Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa and Mount Fujiyama in Japan are examples of mountains that have been formed as a result of volcanic activity. So these are also very important to be remembered. So you can see in this table that the names of the major mountain ranges of the world along with their location, highest peak and length has been given. So among this you can see Andes is important, then Himalayas is important, Rockies, Western Ghats, Alps, then Ural. All these are very very important. Next, what are plateaus? A plateau is an elevated flatland. It is a flat top table land standing above the surrounding area, right? So this is a very important definition. Next, we have principal mountain peaks of the world. You can see here Mount Everest is very important along with its height. Then K2 is important. K2, that is Godwin Austen. This is very important. Then Kanchenjunga. Then out of these, Nanga Parbat is important. Dhaulagiri is important. Mount Everest, K2, and Kanchenjunga. These are the most important amongst all. Then plains, a relatively low-lying and flat-land surface with least difference between its highest and lowest point is called a plain. So as the name suggests, there is hardly any difference between the highest and the lowest points in a particular region, thereby it is known as a plain. So the earth, as it comprises of different landforms like mountains, plateaus and plains, it also comprises of oceans. Like as we all know, about two-thirds of the earth's surface is covered with ocean. Ocean of the world is classified into four. So we know that there are four important oceans on the Earth's surface. That is the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Arctic, and the Indian Ocean. So the Pacific, it is the largest ocean, being twice the size of the Atlantic. This is very important. Like which is the largest ocean in the world? That is the Pacific Ocean, and it covers about a third of the Earth's surface and contains more than half the water on the planet. So you can see how huge it is. So the greatest depth in Pacific Ocean is the Mariana Trench. In Atlantic, you have Puerto Rico. Indian Ocean, you have Java Trench. So this is very important. This table, like you need to remember the area is not important, but you need to remember the greatest depths, the names of the greatest depths of these oceans. For Pacific, Mariana Trench, which is very important. Atlantic, you have Puerto Rico Trench, and Indian, you have the Java Trench. Next, we have major rivers of the world. Here, Nile is very important. You need to know about the origin and falls. Length is not that important. Amazon is important. Yangtze is important. Mississippi is important. Huangho is important. Then Congo is important. And Niger is important among the rest. Then major gulfs of the world. You have Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of Hudson, and Arabian Gulf. And then area is given. This is not so important. Then straits of the world. This is also not that important, but just go through it. Pulse Strait is important amongst all these. Then Florida Strait is important. Then here we have important lakes of the world like the Caspian Lake, where it is located. Russia and CIS, that is. Then you have Superior, Lake Superior, located in Canada and USA. Then you have Victoria Lake, located in Tanzania. Then you have Michigan Lake in USA. These are very important. Then you have the highest waterfalls of the world, like the Angel, then Tojela, then uh, Gokta, Yosemite, and all these names. And important cities on riverbanks. This is not so important, but just go through it once. Then see, these are important. World's geographical surnames, like city of skyscrapers. New York is known as the city of skyscrapers since it has buildings that are very very tall. Then city of seven hills is Rome. Then city of dreaming spires is Oxford. Then China's sorrow, Huangho, because it floods. This river, it floods the nearby areas very bad, so it is known as China's sorrow. Then cockpit of Europe is Belgium. Dark continent is Africa. Then Empire City is New York. Forbidden City is Lhasa. So you can see, like, all these names are important. Just go through them once. Yellow River. Huangho is also known as Yellow River. This is important. Important boundaries, that is Duran line between Pakistan. McMahon line is very important. India and China. Then also 38th parallel. This is also important. Then Redcliffe line is important. Then continents. These are just some facts given, like Asia, Africa, North America, as you know, the names of the seven continents of the world. Biggest country, you have China, Algeria, Canada, Brazil, Russia, Australia. Russia is the largest continent as country, as we all know. Then highest peak is Mount Everest. The figure is also important, 8,848 meters. Then followed by we have Mount Kilimanjaro and so on. Then we have the longest river, that is Yangtze Kiang, followed by we have Nile, then Mississippi, Missouri, Amazon. These are also important. So let us have a look at the Indian geography. Area and location. So what is the location and area of India? India is in the southern parts of the Asian continent, and in the west of India lies the Arabian Peninsula, while in the east lies the Indochina Peninsula. So, this latitude and longitudinal extension of India is very important. India extends between 8 degree 4 minutes north and 37 degrees 6 minutes north latitudes, and between 68 degrees 7 minutes east and 97 degree 2 minutes east longitudes. This is very very important. Then the geographical area of India is around 32 lakhs 87,263 square kilometers. This is also important. And as we know that India accounts only about 2.42% of the total geographical area of the world. But holding such a small geographical area, we are supporting around 17% of the world's total population. So you can see, like, the pressure on the land that we have. The 23.5-degree knot is known as the Tropic of Cancer and runs across the country. Then India has a length of 3,214 kilometers from north to south. This is important, and 2,933 kilometers from east to west. Then total length of the coastline of the mainland, Lakshadweep Island and Andaman and Nicobar Islands is 7,516.6 kilometers. This is also important. Then India ranks seventh among the countries of the world in terms of the geographical extent. Then it is bordered on three sides by water and on one side by land. And India is also a peninsula, as we all know. Then India shares its common borders with Afghanistan and Pakistan in the northwest, then China and Bhutan in the north, and Bangladesh in the east. Then in the south, Sri Lanka is separated from India by a strait, which is popularly known as the Palk Strait. This is important. Then there are 28 states after reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir in 2019, and 8 union territories after merger of Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu in 2020. Then 82 degree 30 minutes east longitude, as I discussed earlier, it is known as the Indian Standard Meridian, and the local time of this longitude is taken as the Indian Standard Time. So this is 5.5 hours ahead of the Greenwich Mean Time. So the Indian states on international boundaries are bordering Pakistan. We have Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Rajasthan. Just, whenever we are talking about boundaries, just remember the map points. Then it would be very easy to know like which state is bordering which country. Then bordering Nepal, we have Bihar, Uttarakhand, UP, Sikkim. Then Bangladesh, we have West Bengal, Assam, Tripura, Bhutan, Myanmar, Afghanistan, and so on. Important passes, Kashmir, we have Burzila, then Jojila, then Himachal Pradesh, we have Chala, Shipkila. La means pass, that's why. Then Uttarakhand, we have Nitila, Sikkim, Nathula, Arunachal Pradesh, Bomdila. Highest mountain peaks of India, Godwin Austen, Kanchenjunga, Nanga Parvat, Broad Peak, Nanda Devi. Then towns at river banks, we have Agra, located along the banks of the river Yamuna. Then Allahabad, confluence of the Ganga and the Yamuna. Then Badrinath, then Dibrugarh, Guwahati, Hardwar, Hyderabad. So many of them are there. Then waterfalls of India, you can see we have Jog, Rakim Kund, Chachal, then Kefti. Height is not important. State is important. Important lakes: Pulikat Lake, Sambar Lake, Buller and Dal Lake, Chilika Lake, Kolero Lake, Loktak Lake. So not all are important. Out of these, Chilika is important, Buller and Dal Lake is important, Kolero is important, Loktak and Pangong. These are very important. Rivers of India, you should know about the origin of the important rivers like Yamuna, then Kosi, Sabarmati, Krishna, Godavari. Then geographical surnames. So Bengal's sorrow is Damodar River. This is very important. City of Palaces, Kolkata. Gateway of India is Mumbai. Pink City, Jaipur. Paris of India is Jaipur. Manchester of India, Ahmedabad. Then Queen of Mountains, Mussoorie. Then City of Nababs, Lucknow. Scotland of the East, Meghalaya. Then Land of Five Rivers, Punjab. Then Spice Garden of India, Kerala. City of Lakes, Srinagar. So these are very, very important. Then some major irrigational and multi-purpose projects. So Bhakra Nangal is important. Your Damodar Valley project is very, very important. Then rest just go through once, but these are very important. Then you have Hirakud is also very important. Then Krishna project is important. Ehri Dam is very important. Then major Indian crops. So wheat, very important. States where they are produced, this is also important. Remember, we have talked about these in the agricultural chapters. So either make a table or mark it on the map. It would be easier to remember like which crops are grown in which states. Then metals also we have discussed like bauxite chiefly found in Orissa, Gujarat, Jharkhand. For this also a map should be made. It would be much easier to remember that way. Then coal, Jharkhand, Orissa, copper, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, then gold, Karnataka, etc. Then zones and headquarters of Indian Railways. This is not that important, but just go through it. Then we have the major ports of our country: Kolkata, Mumbai, Tuticorin, Chennai, Mormugao, New Mangalore, Paradip, Kanla, Vishakhapatnam, Cochin. Just mark it on the map because there's a probability that in the exam you might be these ports may be marked and you might be asked to identify like which is this particular port. So go through them. And major international airports in India, names along with the cities, this is very important. Like Indira Gandhi International Airport is in Delhi, then Rajiv Gandhi International Airport, Hyderabad, then Kempegowda International Airport, Bengaluru, Thiruvananthapuram International Airport, Thiruvananthapuram, then that is it. Thank you.